Sorry, I just realized my mic was still muted. Are you back? Okay. If you are talking, we cannot hear you, just so you know. So we are on Miss Savage's channel tonight. We're going to go live just talking about the different articles that have come out today. And we have the court documents so that we are able to look a little bit more into this case with the evidence that has come out. So let's wait for her to get back in here and get her mic going. Still can't hear you. Let me check the feed itself and see if it's just me. I heard you for like a split second, but it didn't stay. Okay, try again. Nothing at all. If you're talking. Not sure. That's what it sounds like, just so you know. I'm not sure. Let me try leaving and coming back.
My phone internet.
Oh. Technical difficulties. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Okay, you're going to switch to your laptop. That's great. Okay, so I just wanted to bring you guys, as a lot of people know, there has been a lot of information released today about the stuff that Isabella endured during her short time on this earth and her short time with the Kaluas. We read documents today saying that her mouth was being taped shut and she was being kept in a cage, which is devastating. Let me get this link so that we can share it to the Facebook groups real quick. Oh, it looks like everybody else is going live as well. We're going to be competing for views. Let me see. Which I'm not worried about views, so I know that she's not as well. So let me share this to the group. Which I'm not worried about views, so. Okay, hold on one second. Paste. Let me share this. Sorry, guys. I just want to get it in there so that everybody can see. Okay, so she is switching over to her laptop. Her phone is not working properly. So we're just going to go ahead and start talking about what is going on. We've seen the articles today that Isabella was being kept in a cage and she was being with her mouth taped shut. She would get her mouth taped shut because she was crying because they were starving her. There is 12 pages of court documents that I am going to go through with everyone tonight. I do have them in front of me here. I will screen share as it's going on. Just have to wait for Miss Savage to get onto her computer because she has to approve the screen share. So once she is there, then we will be able to do that. A couple things I want to touch on before we go into these court documents is the family is going to be actively fighting for these children very soon. I don't know if the fight is already happening. That's obviously information that they can't really discuss with me. But I do know that this is going to be taking ahead very soon. The court paperwork was starting to be filed to get CPS records, etc., was the last that I was told. The lawyer was agreeing to start working with them on the records that they needed to get about abuse potentially and different things like that. I'm not sure if they're working on the custody yet, but just to share the information with you guys, there is a GoFundMe that they do need you guys to please donate to. If you're wanting to help this family out, this is how you can help them. Currently, they are at $3,417. They have gotten a couple donations today, which is greatly appreciated, but they are still miles away from the fees that they are going to need for these battles that are going to be coming. So we just need you guys to please consider donating to the GoFundMe. Let me share it to the chat for anyone. Hey, look, my screen's here now. So this is the GoFundMe. It is, like I said, at $3,417. The grandma was wanting to do an update message. She was supposed to post that this week on, I believe it was like Tuesday, but then everything started happening. And so this family has been insanely busy. Number one, standing outside of this house, watching as things unfold because they want to know if and when she's found. The police are still there digging. They're still there searching, gathering evidence as far as we know. Somebody local had told me that one of the officers said they may be there for several more days. So whatever it is that they are looking for, they must be pretty sure that they're going to find it, or they're hoping to find evidence of whatever it is that can lead them to her. Let me see if she's back yet. Not quite. Okay. Whoops. So let's take a look. Let me post this link in. Hold on one second. I gotta stop screen sharing for a second. Oh no, it's gonna lock it out again. This is the GoFundMe though. Please consider donating to it. And like I said, there is the court records. Let me start reading this for you. Now this looks like it is just Sunny. No, this is just Lehua's, it looks like. So I'm sure there is another document that has Sunny's. I probably have it as well. Probably in my inbox. This one was sent to me by somebody local who pulled it up in the system. Are you here? I think you see your face.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Wait, I had my speaker off. That's so funny. Go ahead, try now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry. I had my
Yay.
speaker off, so I was like, oh. Sorry.
All right. Welcome to my stream, myself.
Right. Technical errors happen though, and thankfully nobody has been here yet. So We should be fine.
All right, let me get this shared out to Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to share it in the Facebook group as well.
I've got to upgrade my system because usually I use a two computer setup to do my streams.
Okay. Yeah, see, I have very basic, like, I mean, I have a desktop, but it's very basic because, I literally just decided to do this one day because I was frustrated with a YouTuber not wanting to share my story about Angel. So, that's why I was like, fine, I'll just make my own videos. Now here I am.
Which is almost exactly how I started my channel because I got so upset with the way that Summer's case was being handled and how people were just losing focus of her. And it became about this rumor and that antic or shenanigan, and everybody just lost track of Summer.
Right. Right. It's sad. Let
It
me
really
get
is.
There's a couple people messaging me asking me when we're going to be on, so let me message them back real quick and let them know, "Hey, we're here." I had a lot of people messaging me to go live today. And I came out with a couple Amber Alert videos and different stuff like that today. I didn't touch Ariel's case today though because it's just so much emotionally. Um
It is.
it's a lot of
It really
very
is.
upsetting information.
Especially this new information.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Where am I at? So
But I
let
was
me
expecting some breakthrough soon with the children being removed, and now the older daughter is starting to talk. So expecting something to break somewhere really soon. With
r-
the children being removed, and now the older daughter is starting to talk. So expecting some.
right. Sorry, I had a little bit of an echo because I was on the stream trying to share the stream, so it pulled it up and echoed for a second. Um, yeah, no, it's just a lot of information with this new abuse allegations and stuff like that. Um, Not even allegations, like there's witnesses of it. Enough of a witness that they were able to charge these parents with second degree murder. And honestly, I hope that these charges get elevated. We see in some states they have, like, if you are the caregiver to the child, that it's automatically first degree. And I wish that Hawaii was like that.
Yeah,
So I do
either
have
that
both of,
or some states, if the child is under a certain age.
right. Yeah, under 12 or whatever. So murder
I
in
think
the
I must
second
have some
degree,
lag on my end.
probably. We're usually about 30 seconds off, I want to say. Okay, so murder in the second degree, it says in Hawaii, it is if the person intentionally or knowingly causes the death of another person. So the intentional part is still there. It just doesn't meet the threshold of murder one since the victim doesn't fall under the categories. So let me click into the categories and see what these categories are. Hmm. Somebody is sending me the information. I am so proud of the oldest sister. I couldn't imagine having all of that information for the last, month or two and holding that in. Like, I can't imagine the turmoil and torment that she is feeling.
Yeah, that is a whole lot for a child to have on them. Especially to just kind of suffer in silence. There's nobody that you can tell really, because basically she was trapped in the house with these people. until protective services came in and took them out.
Right. Yeah, and you remember that in the beginning that um they had the adoptive uncles and stuff sitting in on the interview with her. Like even that, like how was she supposed to feel comfortable with that? You know what I mean? To be able to
I
actually talk and say her story. And it's just really upsetting.
I have to wonder whose bright idea it was to have anyone from that family or anywhere else sit in with her.
Right?
I mean,
I
maybe
don't
at
know.
first because they were looking at it strictly as a missing child case and not as a homicide or potential homicide. But there had to come a point earlier than the last few days when they started to think, maybe we need to talk to this kid alone.
Mhm. You know what though? Even if they talked to her alone, she probably wasn't saying anything out of fear. You know, some of the new details that came out is they made her carry Ariel to the bed after she was dead. And
Oh, Jesus.
so she was fully aware that her sister had died as a result of the things that they were doing to her, and she had to carry her own dead sister to the bed. Like, so I can only imagine how
Yeah,
terrified she was that they were gonna do the same thing to her. I couldn't
yeah,
imagine.
that's definitely not a fear that she would have easily gotten over. Definitely not. And that's probably because I only read the one article so far, and then it was like, okay, we need to go live with this. But the article said that they actually woke her up that night and that
Yes,
she saw or they showed her Ariel in the bathroom and that Ariel wasn't breathing. So it kind of seems like they did that intentionally to threaten her and to scare her into, hey, keep this secret. Don't say anything or you could be next.
exactly. You know, the other article said that, that she would oftentimes get duct taped as well, and that Sunny would come in and see them duct taped and ignore it. So,
Wow.
it's just all at, like, next level abuse and drama, like, trauma for them. Let me pull up a
So it's
screen
kind of
share of this.
sounding like Lehua was the primary abuser and Sonny probably was actively abusing, but at the very least was letting it happen.
Right. If you wanna accept my screen share, I do have the court documents that somebody sent me. These are the documents for Lehua Kalua.
Hey, there you go.
Okay. So this is the family court of the First Circuit. This is the complaint. It says, on or about, wait, okay, yeah. On or about August 18th, 2021, to include and including September 13th, 2021, the city and county of Honolulu, State, Hawaii, Lehua Kalua being the parent or guardian or any other person having legal or physical custody of IPK, which is Ariel, that's her initials, also known as APK, did intentionally or knowingly cause the death of IPK, also known as APS, a person less than 18 years of age by intentionally or knowingly inflicting injury on her, or by intentionally or knowingly omitting to perform a duty imposed by law, to wit, Lehua Kalua, while at the scene of the crime, and knowing that IPK, also known as APS, the subject of the crime was suffering from serious physical harm, did intentionally or knowingly fail to obtain or attempt to attain aid from law enforcement or medical personnel through Lehua Kalua could have done so without danger or peril to any person, thereby committing the offense of murder in the second degree. So they're not even getting them on the actual moments of death. They are getting them on the failure to report side of things. And that's where Hawaii's laws are different, because in Hawaii, if you know that something happens and you didn't report it, then you are just as guilty. So anybody who may have known that these children were being abused, as soon as police can prove it, they're also going to be found guilty of that. This is just the first of many charges to come for these people, I think.
Definitely a plus.
So, and then it says she is subject to sentencing with the course of attempting to commit a felony. She caused the death or inflicted serious or substantial injury. She was 8 years of age or younger, and such disability it was known or reasonably should have been known to Lehua Kalua. So the disability is that she was young, I guess. um, if convicted, she may be subject to sentencing. I'm just going to kind of skim and read any important parts there because this is a lot. It's going to be 12 pages. So this is the warrant of arrest. This is what they served her whenever they went and arrested her with all the flashbangs and all that fun stuff. Just the warrant of arrest. Now, this is the actual court notes here. Let me see. That just repeats that first paragraph again that I read. Okay, based on the review of HPD report interviews and follow-up investigation, which resulted in the identification of the suspect in this case, the investigation has revealed the following information. On September 13th, 2021, at about 6:25 a.m., HPD officer Joel Patterson was sent to 41610 Puha Street, Waimanalo, Hawaii, on report of a missing person. Upon his arrival at the scene, Officer Patterson met with Lehua Kalua, herein after referred to as Lehua, who identified herself as the adoptive monster of this missing person, 6-year-old female born in 2014. Lehua informed Officer Patterson that she had last seen IPK at approximately 9 p.m. on September 12th when IPK went to bed in her own room. When Lehua woke up on September 13th, she noticed that the side door of the house was ajar. When she went to check IPK's room, she found that IPK was missing. Lehua described IPK as being 3'3", weighing 46 pounds, and stated she was last seen wearing a black hoodie, black leggings, multicolored socks, and black Nike brand slides with pink soles. I am really wondering if they will find those clothing items whenever they find her, because a lot of the story they have told so far was true. She was last seen in her bed and she liked to sleep in the yard. We don't know for sure if she is in the yard yet. However, they did last put her in her bed. They made her older sister carry her to the bed. It's like disturbing. Sorry. I clicked on that.
Yeah, people
Okay.
tend to leak a lot
Like,
of the truth when they're telling lies.
yeah, they always mix in truth with their lies. And I don't know if you ever followed the Gannon Stout case, but T did that all the time. Like, she would say one sentence of truth and then like 6 paragraphs of garbage, but the truth was there.
I did follow that case. They actually found him less than 10 miles away from where I was living at the time.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's crazy. Such a small world. Okay, so Lehua further related that in the past, IPK would go out to the garage unnoticed and sometimes fall asleep there. Per Lehua, IPK would also open the house windows purportedly to talk to someone outside, but that no persons were observed talking to her. On occasion, she would leave doors unlocked, which Lehua explained to her was dangerous. So this makes me think she probably would go to the garage to sleep after she was sneaking food, like her sister said. And, somebody else had said in the group that they would claim that she would stand outside waiting for her mom to come get her. And so it's all upsetting. And in retrospect, knowing that whenever Whenever she wasn't free, she was being locked in a cage.
Dear God, that is so heartbreaking.
I know, right?
Just to
Sorry, I feel
imagine her
like I'm like,
sitting there waiting for her mom to come and get
yeah.
her.
Okay. So then it says Lehua informed Officer Patterson that their door sensor was activated at approximately 1:30 on September 13th, 2021. She stated that they had the camera system installed, but that it constantly crashes and goes on and off. So they had a whole month to set up incidents where their camera system would quote unquote fail so that they could show that as a pattern. We now know. Responding HPD officers, along with IPK's family members and members of the general public, checked the area surrounding the house and numerous locations in the Waimanalo area, but were unable to locate the missing child. Lehua identified IPK's biological parents, Melanie Joseph and Adam Sellers, who, to her knowledge, were homeless and living in the Waimanalo area. Lehua and her husband, Isaac Kalua, also known as Sonny, adopted three of the biological children of Joseph and Sellers, including IMK, IPK, ILK. They are also the foster parents of AJ, who is another biological child of Joseph and Sellers. Pursuant to a search warrant approved and signed by Honorable Karen L. Holma, the document and documented as SW whatever, affiant received records from the state of Hawaii Child Welfare Services. The records indicated that they began residing with Lehua and Isaac in February of 2019. Records show that they were the adoption decree filed on February 11th, 2021, and that it was effective as of January 26th, 2021. On September 13th, the officers located IPK's biological mother, who indicated that she had no knowledge of IPK's whereabouts and related that Sellers was currently residing at a residential treatment facility, which was later confirmed by the detective. They denied any involvement. On the 13th at 3:38 p.m., Detective Ryan conducted a recorded interview with Lehua, who provided background of their family and recounted events that led up to IPK's disappearance, which they had a whole month to organize their statements. Lehua provided the following information, saying that they ate dinner together while the girls played for a while. Which the girls played for a while. They went riding to get out of the house but did not stop anywhere. IPK seemed fine with no issues, no tantrums, and went to bed at approximately 9 p.m. wearing a hoodie and leggings, which she normally wore to sleep. Lehua went to her room about the same time but returned IPK's room approximately 20 minutes later and saw that IPK was asleep. Lehua woke up between 5:50 and 6 a.m. and discovered that the side door of the house was closed but unlocked. She went to IPK and IMK's shared room where she observed that IMK was asleep in her bed, but IPK was not there. Lehua woke up IMK and asked her where her sister was, but IMK stated she did not know. She further stated that IMK is a very heavy sleeper, and they searched both interior and exterior of the house, but were unable to locate IPK. Isaac then left with the kids to drive around the area while Lehua called police. So they made sure that the children weren't there whenever she initially called police. Red flag. Lehua further stated that a neighbor stated she saw a silver car leaving the driveway at about 1 a.m., but that the neighbor thought it was a family member of the Kaluas because it was. It was Kalani's car. We know that. Lehua stated that lately IPK has been going outside of the house every day or every other day, and that she would say that she was waiting for her mom to come get her. So that's where that statement came from that somebody told me. That's so devastating. How dare she try to pin this on the biological parents? Like, how dare
Yeah,
she?
I
Sorry.
noticed. I noticed how they always try to throw shade at the bio family and the bio parents, especially. But the fact is, we haven't read anything about Isabella or her siblings having been physically abused when they were with their bio family. We've only heard of any of them actually being injured or hurt while they were with the Kaluas.
Right. Yeah, and didn't that say okay, so it said February, I think, of 2019, right? Let me see where that was.
I believe the broken bones were in October of 2019 and January of 2020.
Right. But there was a spot where it said in here about what day they went to live with the Kaluas. I'm looking for that real quick. Mm. Okay, so it said February of 2019. So they were only staying with the Kaluas for what is that? 8 months before she got her first broken bone. Did they like they started the abuse right off the bat of her?
Yeah, right off of that. And you have to wonder, was the abuse solely focused on Isabella or primarily on Isabella? And if that's the case, then why?
So
Since they
there's a
had four
portion,
of the siblings.
right. Well, there's a portion in this that eventually says that Sonny, that Lehua used to duct tape the older sister as well. So I don't think it was just Ariel. I think it might have been Ariel and her older sibling. But again, why? Why single out them too? Or was all the children getting abused and we just don't know yet because how much can a 3-year-old say?
Yeah, those details could be waiting to come out as well.
Right. Like I am praying that CPS does the right thing and gets these children full mental, physical evaluations. And we can't count on them to do it. Unfortunately, they have dropped the ball every step of the way. Hey, you guys coming in from my channel, can you guys like and subscribe to Miss Savage because she tries to do the same type of stuff that I am doing on my channel. She's been at this a little bit longer than me. She does a really good professional job of the cases. She just, again, low on the algorithm, so you don't get noticed. Fighting against that algorithm is the worst thing in the world. Okay,
Yes, it
so then,
is.
yeah, it's awful because
Yeah.
you can have like the best video, the best information, a fair, level headed, whatever, like your videos of Ariel that you did in the very beginning with your breakdown of the early days were amazing. And so, it's a
Well, thank
bummer
you.
that more people don't see them. So like the video, guys, subscribe to her channel. Okay. So then on September 20th, 2021 at about 2:04 p.m., your affiant conducted a record interview with Isaac, who was read his constitutional rights in the presence of his attorney, William Harrison, after which he agreed to waive his rights and provide a statement. Interesting. So they read him his rights right off the bat. He could not recall the exact times or details, but remembered on September 12th, 2021, Lehua took IMK and ILK out in their Lexus while he stayed home with IPK and AJ. Lehua returned that afternoon with the two girls. They ate dinner sometime before 6 p.m. He didn't recall anyone in the family leaving the house that evening. He last saw IPK at approximately 7 p.m. in the kitchen with Lehua. He went to bed sometime between 8 and 8:30 and didn't wake up until about 6:30 a.m. on September 13th when he heard Lehua screaming that IPK was missing. After checking around the house for IPK, he left in their Lexus to drive around the area while Lehua contacted police. Isaac stated he went to work on August 19th, 2021. He was scheduled to be off on August 20th. On August 21st, he woke up feeling ill and went to the emergency room for treatment. He was seen for possible COVID symptoms. Isaac further stated that he took vacation from work for approximately 2 weeks from August 21st to September 7th as a result of the doctor visit. Isaac denied any involvement in the disappearance of IPK. On September 13th, video surveillance was recovered from the Kalua residence. IPK was last seen on surveillance cameras on August 18th, 2021. So he really
I'm going
took
to step
vacation
away
from
from the
work.
mic for a second.
What's that? Okay. I think you said. Okay, on November 5th, 2021, at about 1:30 p.m., Detective Shane conducted a recorded interview with IMK. IMK related the following information. She was asked to keep a secret by Lehua and Isaac regarding what happened to IPK. IMK stated that the secret was that IPK was in the bathroom in a dog cage, duct tape on her mouth and nose, and didn't wake up. She further stated that the two small children, Isaac and Lehua, were sleeping when they got up at 3:32 a.m. Lehua and IMK went to check on IPK in the bathroom, and IPK didn't wake up. IMK was told to go back to sleep, and Isaac and Lehua stayed up. She doesn't know where they put IPK the next morning. IMK also stated she was asked to keep that secret around 2 months ago, and that she knows IPK is dead because she was there. IMK stated she was there because her parents woke her up. After being woke up, she went into the bathroom and saw that IPK had duct tape on her nose and mouth and was not breathing. Lehua filled up the bathtub with water, put IPK in it to see if she would wake up, but it did not work. IMK then had to help carry IPK to their bedroom. With regards to the bathtub, IMK explained that they took IPK out of the cage and put IPK in the bathtub, but she still did not wake up. According to IMK, Lehua woke up first and then woke up Isaac. At that time, IMK, Lehua, Isaac, ILK, and AJ were the only ones at home. According to IMK, after Lehua filled the bathtub and IPK would not wake up, Lehua then drained the bathtub, and a few days later, Isaac went to Kaiser to pretend that he was COVID. IMK stated that she knew that Isaac was pretending because she knows that he took off work to help mom. When asked why Isaac would need to help mom, IMK stated to get rid of the evidence stuff, or the stuff evidence. IMK stated that when Lehua bought the dog cage via the internet, she was there. The family did not have a dog at the time. IMK stated that Lehua bought the dog cage because IPK would sneak around at night and want to eat because she was hungry.
My
IMK
God.
stated that IPK would be hungry because Lehua would not feed her. She tried to sneak food to IPK on occasions, but Lehua would catch them and become upset. So Lehua bought the cage to keep IPK inside of it at night. There was someone in our group, whenever this case first started, who kept insisting about their dog. If anybody can find out when they actually got the dog, or if they even actually had a dog, please PM me. Please send me that information. If anybody can tell me when a dog officially ended up on their property, or if they ever even actually had a dog, because I want to know, why did all of the other family members who were in and out of this house think they had a dog crate in their bathroom if they didn't have a dog? That's what I want
That
to
is an
know.
excellent question.
If you had no dog, why are you keeping a dog crate in your bathroom? And nobody noticed that?
And not just that, but someone who came in and out of that house had to notice something along the way. There is no way that none of their family or friends had the slightest suspicion that something was going on. I mean, we're looking at pictures after the fact. We're looking at pictures and we can see the decline. We can see how Ariel went downhill from having a glow, being chubby cheeked, beautiful flowing hair. to being crippled, emaciated, bruised, and battered. We could see that from pictures. So there's no way that anyone seeing her in person could miss that or not have some type of suspicion. It's just impossible.
Right. And I want to be clear, none of those photos are edited at all. Those are all in the moment photos. The only photos that I have edited at all is to block out the other children's faces. Those are real pictures I took from their real Facebook and Instagram accounts before I started blasting this on YouTube, before they locked down. Those are real pictures straight from them. Sorry. So frustrating.
And it could
Yeah.
also be that even if they noticed, they probably wouldn't have said anything. We've seen that the brothers, at least of Lehua, have some type of criminal connections or actions going on in their life. So it might just be a whole I'm going to mind my business and you do your thing type situation.
Girl, you better go and block the one auntie before you start talking like that. She's going to be in your comment section in like 2 seconds. I get a thumbs down on every post or every video now because of her.
I believe it, but in all honesty, the way I have come to feel about Ariel and what she's gone
Yeah.
through, if the auntie wants it, she can get it.
Right, right. Yeah. Yes, Princess. Ryan lived there. And I have a statement from somebody who knows his girlfriend. He lived there up until the week she was reported missing. Sometimes he would stay at his girlfriend's house, but he was mostly at their house. And up until the week before she was missing, he was there. So you're going to tell me he never noticed that Ariel was missing in all that time? Really? How do they not consider him a suspect? And Thomas, I have heard he was in and out of the house. He wasn't there um like the full time. You know what I mean? But he was in and out. How did he not notice? I think that police saying that they have no further suspects is like, oh yeah, we're not looking into anybody else. Wink, wink. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Let them give themselves away. If you give them
right.
enough rope, they will hang themselves.
Mm-hmm. And these children need protected. I don't know, like I said, I don't know any knowledge about their custody situation or anything else going on, but I do know that the law is they were adopted. They could potentially go to this adoptive family instead of the biological family. We're going to need an act of God to make sure that they don't get placed into one of these homes and they don't threaten these children or worse to keep them quiet about their involvement or their, criminal doings.
Yeah, that's true. And even with that law in place, I think that right now, especially with the stir around this case and how it's growing, and just people knowing about it and knowing the situation, no judge in their right mind is going to offer these girls to one of the Kalua's family members.
I honestly think that the community may riot if they did.
I believe so too.
I would. Like, I would fly out there to be at the riot. You know what I mean? Like, I would be furious, furious if I found out these children end up going to one of their homes. There is two different sides of the biological family, and there are eligible people on both sides that were never notified. Like,
Exactly.
it's ridiculous.
And
Absolutely
I
ridiculous.
pointed that fact out to someone in a comment section on it was one of the news stations videos earlier in the evening, and I was reading the comments, and the people were like, "Oh, well, what about the bio family, and what about the bio parents, and they're horrible, this, that, and the other thing." And I'm like, "No, these kids had a family that loved them," and I specifically mentioned that either accidental but most likely intentional failure to notify them so that they could request custody within the allotted time frame. And I do feel like that was intentional. I don't think that was an accident or an oversight at all.
Right. I agree.
I think there's a lot of shady, behind closed doors things that went on in this case to put these children with this family. Because even aside from Sonny's criminal past, if you have to do a background check on everyone who lives in the house, and actually, if their laws are anything like the laws in my home state, that involves anyone who might not necessarily be living there, but who will spend a lot of time with the kids. If you have
Mhm.
someone who comes over to babysit your own kids on a regular basis, they'll have to go through a background check too.
Right.
So I feel like that there was a lot of just ignoring plain sight issues in order to put these kids here for some reason.
Tim says, I think the judge doesn't like them. She purposely made sure that they will stay in county jail for 14 days until grand jury due to quarantine. Awesome. You know what?
I
That is
know that's right.
awesome. God bless that judge. You know what I mean? But that's the criminal judge. I'm more worried about this family court judge,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
on the criminal side, they really have no choice except to see them through and to prosecute them to the fullest. Otherwise, they're going to have problems on their hand because that community really came forward for Ariel once she went missing. So on the criminal side, I don't think we have a whole lot to worry about as far as them getting away or sneaking through some loophole. It really is the family court matter that is the most important right now, and trying to make sure that these girls get back with their bio fam, people
Right.
who actually love them and want the best for them.
Yes, I agree. And yes, Sharice, I agree. They need to just turn these children over. They absolutely do. Here's a part that stands out to me. Okay, so it says this is the part where they're proving that she never called 911. There was no 911 calls between August 1st or September 12th, which proves that they didn't try to get help for her. And then it says that the medical records, this sticks out because let's talk about her broken bones in a second. The medical records show that none of the records received included any visits by IPK to either emergency rooms or their respective health centers during that time period. Oh, wait, of August 21st. Okay. No. So that was just during that month. I thought it was saying February 19th to 20 to September. Isn't that how that reads? Look at this. Wait. You're a
I
finite
can't really see that
received
on my
medical
screen.
records. Okay, wait. Let me zoom it more. It's so tiny, right?
Yeah,
Says
that window in a window.
your affiant received medical records from the following health centers: Waimanalo Health Center, Shriners Hospital, Adventist Health, also known as Castle. The records included the time period from February 2019 to September 13, 2021. None of the records received included any visits by IPK to either emergency rooms or their respective health center. Okay, so it was that whole 2-year period, but it was no visits between August and September. I was going to say, because how did they treat her broken bones? Because we know the one wasn't treated right away, but they did take her then.
Yeah, that is weird how they have that written because it does sound like February 2019 to September 2021.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. How did they even, like, what type of backwoods doctor did they take them to?
Mm.
But apparently they did take her.
Additionally,
So
on the adoption and the overturning of the adoption, it seems to me that if their placement, according to Stephen Lane, that placement actually violates the law. I'm not sure where this whole 5-year background check thing is coming in, but in the actual statutes, according to Stephen Lane, it's any felony, any criminal history more than a minor traffic violation should preclude fostering children. So that
right.
may be grounds to just completely even annul, not just overturn, but annul the adoption as if it never was.
I am praying, the family is trying to reach out to him. I am praying that he works with them because it sounds like he has a ton of knowledge and a ton of history. And that website is where I got that information, but I'm going to take his word for it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
he's
he
going to
sounds
know
like he
that
knows
law
exactly what
inside
he's
and
talking
out.
about.
What's that?
He sounds like he knows exactly what he's talking
Oh,
about. He's
yeah.
been in that for years.
Right. So the surveillance video recovered from the residence on September 13th showed other members of the family, including Lehua, Isaac, IMK, ILK, and AJ, about the residence at various times after August 18th to and including September 13th. The above referenced events occurred in the City Council, Hawaii, Honolulu. Okay. Based on the facts and circumstances, positive identification of Lehua Kalua, probable cause exists for the arrest of Lehua Kalua for murder in the second degree. Wherefore, your affiant respectfully requests that based on these facts and circumstances, that they are able to issue the arrest warrant. Blah, blah, blah. And now we know, based off of what happened today, they are being held with no bond.
Excellent.
So there is no bail option. They are stuck for 14 days in the county jail because of quarantine. And I am happy. I am relieved that they are not going to be able to, you
Just
know,
walk out of the jailhouse anytime soon.
yes, that's the worst thing whenever you see these monsters go in there for something that's like so godly awful and then ungodly awful and then they just get to post bail and walk right back out. It makes me
Yeah,
so frustrated.
and go back to living their lives as if nothing happened, and you have a whole innocent child over here who's lost their life. You know, it's crazy. Tim, you said that you feel like they're basing the whole case off one witness, but I want to say that that one witness is going to be very important because she's a first-hand witness, and also she's speaking about being abused herself, and I think her testimony is going to carry a lot of weight. Not only that, I think that even with it only being one witness who's saying, I was there, I saw this, this is what happened, I feel like they have enough circumstantial evidence with the fact that no one has seen Ariel. We've seen the pictures of how she went downhill, the way that they were acting. A lot of things are working against them to where, even with only one witness, they have a lot of circumstantial evidence that would definitely persuade a jury in a case like this.
Well, and we have seen now the stuff being taken out as evidence. The mattress, the inside of the washer was loaded into the back of the U-Haul. Basically, half of their furniture at this point has been taken out to the back of that U-Haul, which tells me long-term abuse. They probably found blood or other things on the furniture. Obviously, if she laid dead on that mattress for any length of time, that would leave, residue. So
Yeah,
even though her statements kick this off, I am praying that they have everything that they need to nail them outside of that as well. And I am praying that these family members, these church members, these neighbors, anybody who thinks that they may have seen something happening or may have noticed abuse or whatever, I want to see them nailed on abuse charges as well as all of this.
exactly.
Yes, Princess, 99.7 wins. After the Casey Anthony trial, these police don't mess around anymore. They literally will sit on top of the evidence until they have that one piece that they know will convict you. And that's why we get so frustrated watching cases, for example, Orrin and Orson West. I'm sure they know what happened to those boys, or they think they know. The problem is, can they prove it beyond a reasonable doubt in the court of law?
Exactly. And
And
they're
that's where
probably
the
just
issue.
waiting for that one key piece of evidence or for that one slip up on the part of the primary suspect.
Oh no.
And that is a good point also, Prince Lilybell, about about hearsay being admissible in federal courts because they prosecute people all the time and convict on conspiracy alone. There are so many people sitting in federal prisons right now, and their only charge is conspiracy charge because they knew something about it, they talked about it, they heard about it and didn't tell someone. So that is definitely true, and it's definitely something that could get some of these people caught up.
Right. Sorry. Let me read my text messages for a second. You take over.
Indeed. But yeah, it's really sad all this stuff that Ariel had to go through. I mean, and for so many people who were in positions where they were supposed to protect these children, to look out for their well being, to basically blatantly ignore what they were going through. I mean, we even have the mother, the bio mom, Melanie Joseph, saying that she was bringing it to their attention that, hey, I think she's being abused. I think she's being harmed. That's a good question, Tim. Why would they starve her? I mean, there is the statements of the older sister saying that she was abused also, but just looking at the pictures of the kids that we have available, it does kind of seem like most of this was focused on Ariel. And it's like, why? Why this little girl? You know, why did they treat her so extremely badly to the point of death? And that's probably something we'll never know because most of the time we can't really ever get into the minds of these monsters. And even if you can, a normal person is never going to understand that type of motivation. If they sat here and told us this is exactly why I did it, it will never make sense to any of us.
Sorry, I'm back. I had a whole slew of messages there. So everybody was
Hope it's
looking
something
for us where we
good.
are.
But yeah, I mean, for them to starve her, and obviously the other children had access to food. If the older sister was sneaking food to her, she had access to food. So that makes that point, that question stand out even more. Why starve this little girl?
Right. Well, and not only that, okay, so whenever you look at COVID, this family likely received food stamps, which have been, max food stamps for most families right now that are receiving those benefits. COVID is giving out free meals in Hawaii to the children. I don't know if they get them more than once a day. I know it's at least lunch. So there's that. She would have been getting the lunch from the school. It could have been provided, even though she was homeschooled. They give it to all the children. So there's literally
Indeed,
no excuse. And not to mention, the rest of the family looks well fed. So
exactly.
there was no shortage of food. I mean, I've seen pictures of parties where the tables are full of food. And maybe that was the day of the week she was allowed to eat because other people were there. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
sick. I don't
it really
understand how
is.
these monsters operate whenever they do stuff like this.
I mean, it's mind blowing. It's not something that we're ever really going to understand.
Oh, I agree, Tim. As part of their jail sentence, they should be starved too. I
It was,
have no sympathy at all. And honestly, you know, no, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about the other people that I feel like that should happen to because
if only we could have these people suffer the same horrific punishments that they dish out to these innocent victims,
mhm.
especially when the victims are children.
And
Especially,
I want to be clear. Whenever I am naming people who should have seen this, I am mostly talking about these people who were going to their cookouts, who were going to their parties and just sat by and like never asked questions as to why she was, never with them or had bruises or whatever, or even like the picture on their social media where she's the only one in a face mask in that picture. Why? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't anybody raise a red flag for that? And whenever I'm saying that, I'm not blaming the neighbors because the neighbors have been very clear that these children were never outside. They
yeah,
just never even thought about it. Like, I am not talking about these neighbors. You guys don't blame yourselves because you guys were not active parts of this family's life. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I know that there is a lot of the people who are on that street and like directly close to them that are killing themselves right now emotionally because they're beating themselves out up for not, going to check on them or whatever. And you can't beat yourself up for that because it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you guys weren't close with this family. You know what I mean? But the people who were close with this family, the people who were going there in and out of the house day to day, week to week for parties and everything else, you know, you should have seen something. You should have noticed her decline. You've seen her on a regular basis enough. You didn't notice that she lost 15 to 20 pounds in the last year or two? Like,
and you
she
know
had
what
to have
though?
lost a significant amount of weight to look as bad as she does in some of these pictures.
Definitely. But it seems like that even if it had gotten reported, then it's possible that it was just getting swept under the rug. because we have her getting two major injuries with broken bones, one of which there was delayed treatment and it wasn't reported. And even after having a special counsel to evaluate the situation, they were still decided that hey, there's no mistreatment going on. You know, then you've got social workers all over social media, the social workers who were directly involved with this case all over social media, you know, blasting their opinions and basically, you know, trying to take the blame off of them and almost as if they're defending the Kaluas. So even if someone had called the child abuse hotline, would anything have been done?
Oh, absolutely not. And I said this in my stream yesterday. I honestly don't know if you guys are having an issue where you think somebody is being abused, a child needs help. I don't know if I would call CPS in that neighborhood to report it until that system gets overhauled. I think call your local police or your local sheriff so that they can come help that child, because I don't know if I would trust that system, because we know she had her abuse reported. We know. Somebody just sent me a message um because they wanted to let me know the excuse that the parents were giving to people. So this is what people were saying. They're what they were saying to people. The Ariel suffered from a lot of mental and health issues from her biological mother's drug use while she was pregnant with Ariel. And over the years, it started to show. She has really bad skin conditions and an eating disorder. And that was the reason for her pale skin and her looking so skinny. That's what Lehua and Isaac told people apparently.
And you know, it
Was that
makes sense that they would say that, especially when because they seem like they keep trying to put things in there to make it look as if the child is the problem, saying
Yep.
that oh she likes to sleep outside, oh she was homeless, so she probably feels comfortable in the streets and wandered away, just little things like that. So it's possible that they did try to throw off any questions by saying oh the kid's the problem, it's not us, it's
Yeah.
her.
Well, they could have said anything about the bruising, saying something as simple as, well, she has low iron, so she bruises easily or whatever. Um, but I hate that people did notice apparently and asked enough questions to be able to get that answer. Do you know what I mean? Because that tells me
Yeah,
that somebody in her life did probably raise red flags and kind of wonder, and it led to them putting out that excuse.
it's quite possible. But these people, they're so sick in the mind. We'll be forever trying to figure out
And we'll never
why
really
the
have the
whys.
answers. The only person who really knows is Ariel and her sisters. And,
Mhm.
everybody needs to stand behind her sister. Not one person in her life needs to put any doubt into her that she should have done better or she should have been there or whatever, because we see that a lot in kids who are the survivors of abuse. Some ignorant butthole will say something like, "Oh, well, why didn't you speak up sooner if you knew this was happening?" And that replays in your mind over and over again whenever you're the survivor. So don't any of you ever, and I don't think the people in this chat would. I just want to put that out there. Like, don't put that doubt in her mind that she should have done more, because she is going to be beating herself up for the rest of her life already. She doesn't need your voice
Yeah,
saying in her head.
exactly.
I,
She's
I know.
definitely always going to carry some kind of guilt with her, even though she knows that it wasn't her fault. But if they actually had her to carry her sister to the bed, knowing that her sister was dead, there's always going to be that part in her that is going to question what could I have done different? How could I have stopped this? How could I have gotten us help? There's always going to be her beating her own self up.
Yes. Yes. And the same thing with these parents and this family, there's always going to be the coulda, woulda, shouldas. And I hope that they use that as a motivator to change things for the better and to drive them to, you know, getting getting a change for other children. I know that there is people working on looking into how to start a 501(c)(3), because they want to start a foundation for Ariel so that her name changes everything. And I seen something where they're looking into either naming a park or a street after her so that there's just that constant reminder that the community needs to do better for their children. And I thought that was really beautiful too.
Yeah, that is.
Sorry. I
I
feel like I'm like
highlighted this.
talking
Oh,
away.
you're good. I am really not back 100% yet. You are good. Talk away. But I highlighted this comment because Princess Lilybell says that calling her a juvenile is a huge red flag, making her look like a problem. And that is indeed it. A lot of the times, I want to kind of call that gaslighting because a lot of the times it's in the connotation of the words that we use, where you don't directly try to say something, but you use specific words because they carry a specific feel about them. Some words just carry a whole negative thing. A juvenile is just a kid. But when you say juvenile, we think problem child. We think some kid that's skipping school, getting in trouble, lying, stealing, running away. So a lot of what they're doing is just in small wording, just small things that they're saying to implant a thought into our minds.
Right. I agree. Sorry, I'm reading my messages again.
You're
I
good.
always, whenever I'm live, people always send me like little tidbits, and it's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of get little promptings a lot from people who don't necessarily want to type it in the chat, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I would usually be a little more talkative. I'm trying to
No,
work up
it's
that
fine.
energy
And
tonight.
those of you who don't know, Miss Savage just had surgery the other day. So she wanted to come on and, talk about Ariel to keep spreading the information and to promote the GoFundMe, etc. And whenever I sent her the news articles, she was kind of blown away. She had a live planned for a couple hours from now, actually, to just give like an update of what was going on. And as far as we know, they are still at the home. They're still digging, searching for her remains.
Thank you, Tim. I do already. But yeah, I'm really hoping that they find her soon, uh, because that's really going to move the case forward, and I think that's going to go a long way to. I think that Lehua and Isaac are going down regardless. They're going to throw the book at them with or without finding Ariel. But I would really feel much better if this baby was found, brought home, given the proper services that she deserves after having such a hard life. It is just hard to imagine that she would just be thrown away as if she was nothing. She's been already been treated as if she was nothing for so long. And it's heartbreaking to think that. But I'm really praying that they find her soon for
Yes. Yes, me too.
the sake of her bio family.
The worst
Because
the
regardless
worst
of what people
thing
are saying,
is to
go
not be
ahead.
able to lay a child to rest. The never-ending missing of it. We see
Yeah,
too many cases that happens, and it's devastating. And sometimes they'll be found like 5, 10 years later or whatever, but that's not soon enough for me.
it's really not.
I think
It's
my
really
daughter
not.
just woke up, so I'm gonna have to jump out of here. Um, but thank you for having me on. Everybody, make sure you like and subscribe for real. And if you come in and watch the replay later, like the video still. Even if you're on the replay, it helps. Everything helps break through the algorithm. This family has a huge battle ahead of them to get custody of these children and to get the GoFundMe going. They are at still at $3,417. You guys are going to keep hearing me talk about this until they hit 10 grand because that is what the lawyer thinks that this battle is going to cost to get the custody turned over. And while she has started to file paperwork to get the court records that they're wanting, it's because they want to make sure that the oldest sister gets the care that she needs. She needs mental health counseling right now. She needs to get a physical evaluation done, all of those type of things. So they're pushing to get these records right now. We need to make sure that they have the ability to do that and that this lawyer doesn't start to back off this case. I don't think that she's going to though, because could you imagine the bad publicity that would bring? However, I understand wanting to get paid to do her job. I do get that. This is a small island. There's not very many like big things that happen. So I can't imagine that, they have like a lot of things happen. Yeah, I wish CNN would show the GoFundMe page. I agree. These big creators, if you're going to come in and make a video about her to catch on to the hype, please share the GoFundMe at least. This is what
Exactly.
we need you guys to do. Don't just come in here and try to raise money for yourself. I don't care if people send you super chats while you're doing it. That's not my business what they want to donate to, but at least put the GoFundMe in your like say something about it at least once and put it in your description. You know what I mean? Like, this is supposed to be about families and about helping them, not just about, making a living off of YouTube. So
Exactly.
that's just my little spiel before I jump out. Thank you so much, Savage, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you coming. I appreciate you bringing your viewers over to my channel to visit with me for a little while. I'm also going to hop off here. I really do need to get a little more rest. I have enjoyed all of you who joined us tonight. Uh, just keep praying for Ariel. Keep sharing the GoFundMe, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can share it, because that family definitely needs our help so that they can bring their children back home to where they're loved and taken care of. So I am out of here for the night, and I will see you guys again another night. Bye.